Hi everyone, my name is Joseph, and today I want to discuss What If, a movie that was directed by, give me a quick second, Michael Dowse, and it was released August 8th, 2014. And this movie includes a cast of Daniel Radcliffe as Wallace, excuse me, Zoe Kazan as Chantry, Adam Driver as Alan, Mackenzie Davis as Nicole, and then some other characters as well. So this is essentially a rom-com. Uh, yeah, that's essentially how I would describe this movie. I've only seen this movie twice. Once not on theaters, but once a long time ago when it first released in theaters, but then was made available via streaming. And then I made the choice to go ahead and watch the movie again recently, in the past week or so. Not to say that I really did enjoy this movie. This movie, if one has ever seen 500 Days of Summer, you're probably going to enjoy this movie. I would say that this movie is like 500 Days of Summer. Had 500 Days of Summer had a happier ending. I won't say that if one hasn't seen it, I won't spoil it. 500 Days of Summer, but it doesn't have a bad ending per se. But I would say it's more of a bittersweet ending than just a straight up happy ending or a happy go lucky ending. But yeah, so this movie. So now we'll divulge into spoilers, but specifically for What If, it's about a woman, Chantry's character, who's in a relationship that develops a friendship with Wallace. And at first, they are just friendly with one another. With Wallace, excuse me, everyone, that was my phone. With Wallace beginning this friendship, not with the intention of having romance, but with the idea that he was attracted romantically towards Chantry. But unfortunately, he finds out that she has sorry, she has a boyfriend. Now, one might want to go against Wallace's character, but I feel like the writer does a really good job of not one of the audience not falling into this pitfall, because when Wallace gets Chantry's character, Wallace actually recalls when he's by himself that she states she has a boyfriend, and he makes the choice to crumple up the sheet of paper and throw it away, essentially. And the only reason why they end up reconnecting is because they go to a movie theater, not together. They just coincidentally go to a movie theater, and they end up coming across one another, and they reconnect in that way, in that manner. And I actually really like that because that essentially shows that Wallace, he knew that he was romantically attracted to Chantry. He couldn't just be a fan of Chantry, so he made the choice to not engage with her because essentially he didn't want to waste his own time nor disrespect Chantry's time, and of course the boyfriend's time. That's the name of her boyfriend, Ben. But when they end up rekindling with one another, I don't blame them for starting their friendship. This movie is really interesting because there's a lot that one could break down. There's some negatives that Wallace's character does, and the movie actually does highlight this. It doesn't just brush it under the rug or anything like that. And there's also other negatives that Chantry's character does as well. And as a viewer, it's up to you to decide, well, who is the quote unquote bad person in this movie. Wallace points out that yeah, it's true while he was single and he only started a friendship with a hopeful, maybe eventual chance of getting a romantic relationship, a chance at romance. One also needs to recall that Chantry allowed. Oops, sorry everyone, that was my cat. She dropped with her tail, knocked something over. One does need to also recall, and again, the movie does highlight this, that Chantry, she's not innocent. It's not like she was unaware of the deeper bonds that these two were developing. In fact, there's even one point in the movie where she's trying to develop a pros and cons list of why she should remain in Canada. I don't know which part of Canada, maybe Ontario, but feel free to correct me about that. But she's making a pro con list about why she should stay or leave, and part of her prawns, part of her pros is her friends. I believe she puts her friends, family, work, and then she puts Wallace. I don't know why I keep saying his name weird. Wallace. She puts Wallace's name and by itself in its own category, separate from Friends. In fact, quite literally disconnected from Friends. There's one category between Friends. I believe it's working, and then Wallace's name is listed. So that, for the audience, is an indicator that Chantry was starting to view Wallace, maybe not in a romantic way, at the very least in such a manner that she was realizing that he was a little bit more than just a friend. So the reason why I say that this movie it's a happier ending than 500 Days of Summer is because Wallace's character does end up getting together with Chantry's character, and it's a happy ending. And I don't mind the way that this ended, but I personally would have much more preferred an ending where there's a shot where they both made a special sandwich for one another, foos goat it's called. And the scene ends with the camera panning upon these two sandwiches. I think that would have been a much better ending to leave it open ended for the viewers. this is the point of the movie where Chang'e was about to leave to not the Philippines, Taiwan, and while his character was going to remain in Canada, and is this relationship going to work out? They both end up kissing one another. They come up panning upon this special gift that they both gave to one another. I think that would have been a great way to end it, to make one think, oh, okay, will they make it? Will they not make it? And it would have really encouraged discussion, especially about the themes about this movie. Because a really important foil that this movie has is with Adam Driver's character and Mackenzie's character, Alan and Nicole, who they begin their relationship with a quote-unquote white lie. Well, not a quote-unquote, it is a lie. I was going to say lie at first, but I felt like that was a bit too dramatic. But it is a white lie, not quote-unquote, it is a white lie. And the movie, again, does acknowledge that this relationship that started with a lie, one would think that's going to crash and burn, but this was actually quite a positive, healthy relationship. And that's also something else this movie does really well, is showing and not telling. It doesn't need to show us why this relationship, Alan and Nicole, is doing so well. It doesn't need to tell us why it's doing so well. Rather, it shows us. It shows us in the way that these two characters interacted with one another, with the way that they engage with one another. So, so I do wish that this movie would have ended a bit sooner. I do think this movie has a overly positive message, ending, and also maybe even a bit of an unrealistic ending too. I don't know about other people, but I personally have gone through unrequited love, and I know of other people who've gone through unrequited love. And usually, when you profess your love to someone else, at least in my experience, was both personally and amongst my friend group. I should ask my family about this, my cousins and uncles, and my aunts. It hasn't worked out in the way that this movie betrays this situation to work out. So it might be just Hollywood magic, or maybe myself and my friends were just unfortunate and unlucky. Maybe that was not love. But anyways, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I really would. Even though I do believe it ends quite unrealistically in such a positive, happy manner. The lead up to the ending, I think, was done very well. Usually the friend of the... I don't watch a lot of rom-coms, but to my understanding, the friend of the lead, they're not usually like the best of people. They're a bit comical, a bit goofy. I loved how, what's his name, Alan's character, he was goofy, he was comical, but he also had a really straight head on his shoulders. Same thing with Nicole's character as well. She could have been goofy, she could have been goofy, silly, just off the walls bonkers that makes the main character, Chang'e, the main romantic lead, look sane, palatable, and etc. Right? But no, Nicole, even though she was out there, quirky and unique, she, just like Alan, had a really strong head on her shoulders as well. Really fun movie. Probably my favorite characters are Alan and Nicole. If you guys have seen this movie, please do let me know. Oh no, I tried to keep up my tradition with only putting this up with Digimon related content, but I forgot to take it down. But thank you so much for watching / listening, everyone. Hope you all have a great day and take care. Oh, and did I say my rating? In case I forgot to say my rating, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I really would. If one is not even engaged or interested in rom-coms, again, I don't personally watch rom-coms myself. I won't lie, the reason why I did want to watch this movie was because of Daniel Radcliffe all that long ago when I first heard about this movie. I also didn't want to check it out originally because I'm not friends with them anymore, but I had a former friend who recommended this movie to me, and to my shock, not only did my friend recommend this movie, but if I recall correctly, it was, I believe, my mom did too, which shocked me because I never would have thought that my mom would watch this kind of movie. I think, like myself, she probably just watched it for Daniel Radcliffe. So since I had a recommendation from two different people, I was like, you know what? One friend recommendation, one familial recommendation, and this familial recommendation is coming from a mother, so a parental recommendation. I'll go ahead and check out this movie. The second time that I watched it, to be quite frank with everyone, if you guys watch my more recent videos, you'll be aware that I'm starting to grow my digital collection in terms of films and movies. And when I saw this movie, just came into my head because I added 500 Days of Summer into my wish list. And I don't know, I also added Harry Potter to my wish list. And I saw Daniel Radcliffe's character. And I think because of Harry Potter, the algorithm recommended Guns Akimbo, I believe that movie's called, with Daniel Radcliffe. And that reminded me, Radcliffe has done other movies I've actually enjoyed with him in them. One of them being What If. And so I didn't remember the title off the top of my head. I did have to go to Google and put Daniel Radcliffe romantic movies. And that's how I found it. Now, the last thing I will say is actually I was worried that this movie, because it had connections to a friend I'm no longer friends with, it might conjure like bittersweet feelings, maybe even negative feelings. That I wouldn't enjoy this movie for it being guilty by association, essentially, for having these connections to things that are no longer present. But I'm happy to say that I think I enjoy this movie a lot more now with my second viewing than I did with my first viewing. So that was a happy surprise for me. So again, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I really would. Thank you again, everyone. I really do appreciate your patience and communication and engagement with me. Have a great day and take care.